Hello and welcome! This character profile video is for the class Sage, and what you will see is all of his skills, the top 8 PVE and PVP skills that I recommend, his skill combos, enhancements, player card, and a gameplay video. So without further ado, I give you the class Sage. Here we go. And welcome to the skills slide. If you are new to my character profile videos, allow me to introduce the interface. On the left hand side is all of his skills. On the right hand side is all the specials that go with those skills. And then the column charges is how many times you can use the skill. And then the column hits is how many times the skill will hit a creature or opponent in the world. And damage-PVE is the highest percentage damage that skill will do against a creature in the world. And damage-PVP is the highest percentage damage that skill will do against another player's character. And of course, you have the passive at the bottom. So just a few things to explain. In the special section, you'll see the red word super armor. That just means and even forward guard. That just means it's not applied in arena. It'll work everywhere else, but not in arena. So sorry about that. And on the left hand side where the skills column is, you have Spatial Shatter and Spatial Collapse. Those two words are colored differently because they connect to the passive. And I will go into the passive on the PvP slide, as well as a lot of details. So take a moment to look at all this, and when you're ready, we'll move on to the top 8 PvE skills that I recommend. Here we go. And welcome to the PvE slide. What I've done is I've taken all the skills and I've organized them according to the column of damage-PVE, from the highest percentage at the top all the way down to the lowest. And Spatial Shatter is your highest damaging skill. So I do have a correction to make, and that is Spatial Shatter and Spatial Collapse actually are connected to the skill Wormhole. And I will explain how it all works together with the passive in the next slide. But for the meantime, just look at his damage. He's got 3 good skills that are over 2000%, and when you come across a character that has over 2000% damage, you need to pay attention because that hits like a truck. So he's got 3 of them, and that's really good for PvE. The pocket distortion's not bad at 1k, and then, well, below that it's your choice. So take a moment to look at all this, and when you're ready, we'll move on to the top 8 PvP skills that I recommend. Here we go. And welcome to the PvP slide. We have a lot to cover on this slide, so let us go ahead and knock out the basics. I have organized all the skills according to the column of damage-PVP, from the highest percentage at the top all the way down to the lowest at the bottom. And your highest damaging skill remains to be Spatial Shatter. So if you're wondering why there's skills colored in green, it's because we can only take 8 skills into the world at a time. And according to the damage percentage, these would be the 8 that I would suggest. You don't have to do it, but at least you know, hey, those skills, Spatial Shatter, Judgment of a Tor, Spatial Collapse, they're pretty good. They hit really hard compared to the rest, but it's getting used to what you like and knowing how hard they hit. So that is the first thing. The second thing is everyone who does PvP wants to know, hey, I want to get my super armor out there first when I battle people, and what skill can I use to do that? Now, I've told you that there are some skills that are colored red for super armor that don't apply in arena. So they're looking for ones that apply in arena as well as outside of arena in the game world. And I am pleased to tell you, Spatial Shatter is that skill. It has super armor and comes with knockdown on hit. So There's a chance you can knock down the creature or opponent you're fighting, but you'll definitely get your super armor in, and it's the highest percentage damaging skill. You just can't go wrong with that as a starter move. So there is that. Now, I want to explain how the passive works. So before I do that, let me read what it says. It's on use, incoming damage of all skills. It increases the damage of all skills by 10% for 15 seconds. Now, going into the one on the right, it'll say use either Spatial Shatter or Judgment of a Tor to reset the cooldown time for that skill once every 17 seconds. On cooldown reset, recover 10% hit points, but it's not applied in Arena. So, to put this all together, using any skill activates your passive, but to know what your passive is doing, you need to use Spatial Shatter, which is your highest damaging skill. I mean, you're gonna use it, or Judgment of a Tor. But I don't get that. There's a cooldown once every 17 seconds. How can that possibly help me? So what I'm done is I put together a quick video that shows the Sage in action, and we can actually put this all together. But before we do that, I want you to look at Wormhole one more time before we go, and see that over in the specials, you're invincible. It increases the damage of Spatial Shatter and Spatial Collapse by 15% for 7 seconds. And of course, removes all debuffs, and you hold the skill button down for 80 MP for extra movement. But it's the increase in damage that I want you to remember. So let's go ahead and fire up that video, and I'll see you there. Here we go. And welcome. So what we got in the bottom right corner for skills is Spatial Shatter, Judgment of a Tor, and Wormhole. But we're going to focus on Spatial Shatter. See, there's the 3 skills. And I want to show you that your passive is already active. You can use this skill twice, but now you have to wait 17 seconds. So if you notice, its refresh time is not 17 seconds. So if you use it again, just once, as intended. But what I would suggest now is use Wormhole, because you get 15% more damage if you do that, and now you can use Spatial Shatter twice. Very effective combo. So this is how your passive works and how you can focus in on it. So what we're going to do now is just go right back to the PvP slide, and we'll keep going. Here we go. And welcome back to the PvP slide. So now you know how your passive works and what it looks like, and the recommendation, so you can work in Wormhole with your passive. That's why Wormhole has the Spatial Shatter and Spatial Collapse connected to it. But there is one last thing that you might be scratching your head about that I just can't explain for you, and that is the definition of how your passive is active. It says on use, it increases damage of all skills by 10% for 15 seconds. I just can't show you that. I really can't. I mean, if I was to sit down and try to show that to you, it would be probably, let's just take Rift Chain at 425%, a creature that has a lot of health, and I use it normally. Like I hit him 10 times and see if the number of that damage changes, or if it's a range, but if it's consistent, and then you see it change, and you're literally seeing it change for 15 hits, there you go. Your passive was active for that skill, but that's a lot of work, and we're just gonna let this one go for now, because you have something to focus on with your passive, and that's Spatial Shatter or Judgment of a Tor. So take a moment to look at all this, and when you're ready, we're going to move on to the skill combo slide. Here we go. And welcome to the skill combo slide. Before we tell you all about this, let us tell you where you can find it. When you're in the game and you bring up the menu and you look all the way over to the right, you would tap on the tile that says skills. And then when you're on the skills screen, you go to look to the middle and go down, and you'll see an icon of a magnifying glass with a circle around it, and it will say skill combos to the right of it. You tap on that, and now you're here, the list of skill combo screen. But it is a little screen and you need to scroll up and down to see everything. So what I've done is I've put it all together on one slide for you to print out. If you're playing on an emulator, you can have it on another screen. You know, your choice. But now that you know where it's at, let's tell you how it works. Okay, so this came from Pearl Abyss, and if you don't know how to make combos, this is the suggestion section for you on how to do that. So you would start off using the skill that's highlighted in blue. Let's just take the one at the top left corner, Void Beam. It chains into what they recommend. You can do Void Beam first and then Spatial Shatter next, or Pocket Distortion, your choice. So below it is Rift Chain, for example, and Rift Chain, after you do that skill, you can do Judgment of a Tour, Spatial Shatter, or Spatial Collapse. Now, looking at this slide, I've kind of put together a 3-hit combo for you. So if you look all the way down to the one in blue called Phase Shift, it's the bottom left corner. If you do Phase Shift, it goes into Rift Chain, and then you go up to Rift Chain and you do Judgment of a Tour, or Spatial Shatter, or Spatial Collapse. Personally, I do Spatial Shatter because that's the highest damaging skill. So that's a 3-hit combo right there. Phase Shift, Rift Chain, and Spatial Shatter. But don't forget what I showed you. You have Wormhole and Spatial Shatter twice. So that's a 3-hit combo too. So take a moment to look at this, and when you're ready, we're going to move on to the enhancement slide. Here we go. And welcome to the enhancement slide. If you are new to this slide, allow me to introduce the interface. On the left hand side is all of his skills. On the far right hand side is all of the branch damage connected to those skills. And then there's 4 columns in the center. The first one, second, and fourth column are things that help your sage. The third column, I try to make it things that happen to the creature or player's opponent that you're fighting. Now, sometimes it doesn't always turn out that way. Like, for example, if you look at Rift Surge and go all the way over to the 4th column, target move speed minus 5% for 10 seconds. No, that is not something that happens to you. That's something that happens to the creature or opponent you're fighting. I just didn't have the space. So that's how the general layout works. And a few things I want to cover about the enhancements. You might be asking yourself, where are these enhancements you're talking about in the game? If you go to the skill screen, and now you're on it, and you select a skill and look a little to the left, you'll see the icon for the skill and these circles around it. Those are enhancements. They are things that you choose that you need to pay silver to unlock that will enhance your overall skill. So for example, if you choose Judgment of a Tour, you'll see 2 enhancements. One that lowers the AP for 20 for 10 seconds on the creature or opponent you're fighting, or you can change the skill cooldown from 10 seconds to 8 seconds refresh time for that skill. But you need to pay the silver to unlock it. But sometimes there'll be a red number next to it which indicates the level you need to get up to pay the silver and then unlock it. So how do you do that? When you're in the game world fighting in Elion or Hadum, and you fight creatures in Elion, these skill books will drop, and it's random. So when you get them, pay the silver to learn it, and you will see that you need maybe 2-3 books for Judgment of a Tour, and bam, you'll be able to unlock the enhancement that you're looking for. But like I said, it's random, but you just, you're farming anyway, so you're gonna get these books. Now, if you're upper level in Hadum, they will come to you in treasure chests. So you just learn them and you'll see your levels fly up. The goal is to unlock all of these enhancements, so your character, your sage, will become stronger. So one last thing I want to point out for the enhancement slide is if you look at Rift Chain and you go all the way over to the right where it says heal 220 HP per hit, the word heal is colored differently because it does not apply in Path of Glory. He'll heal when that's unlocked. He'll heal everywhere else in the game every time you use that skill, but just not in Path of Glory. So take a moment to look at all this, and when you're ready, we'll move on to the player card. Here we go. And welcome to the player card. It is like a baseball card. It is all the screens you saw, all the slides you saw, put together on one slide here. And there's something new. So allow me to introduce the interface. At the very top is the top 8 PVE and PVP skills that I recommend. And to the right of that is something new. It is called Immobilization. Anytime that one of your skills stuns, knocks down, freeze, etc., anything that puts your opponent on the ground and they have to spend time to get up, they're immobilized. So what you see is green next to the skills that says yes, you have an immobilization to it, and then the next column is how many do you have. Now, why is this important? In the world of PvP, I briefly told you that they like super armor, and I will explain what that is at the bottom of this slide, but the more immobilizations you get in, the more attacks you do with lots of immobilizations, the higher chance you'll get to get your creature or opponent knocked on the ground. And you'll see this, and you'll get in extra hits while they're trying to get up. So this is the reason why immobilization is so important. And I am pleased to tell you, this is one of the areas where the Sage shines. Not only does he do great damage, but his immobilizations are strong. He has, what is that, 5 of them. Now, as I do these videos, I don't see many people with this kind of numbers. I see them with 1 immobilization, but this guy has 5 of them that are 2 immobilizations. So he can really get that high percentage chance. He'll knock you on your butt if you're up against a Sage. So this is how that works. Below it is the skills. And if you are wondering, well, what is an immobilization? You're talking about it. Let's take the one at the top, Purgatory. And now look below under skills for Purgatory. It's the second one. And go all the way over to the right. An immobilization is that when you use that skill, you'll stun or possibly stun your opponent on hit and knock them down on the last hit. It's not guaranteed. Maybe for creatures it is, but for a person who uses super armor, these are 2 opportunities to knock them down. So below that is the enhancements. We just, got through telling you about the enhancement slide. And then below that's the legend of what's not applied in Path of Glory and Arena. And now we come to the definitions of forward guard and super armor. Now, you have forward guard with your skill Rift Surge. So here's how that works. This means that incoming damage will either be 0 or heavily reduced, as long as your opponent is in front of you or in front to the right or the left and they try damaging you, the damage will be 0 or very heavily reduced. But if they get behind you, then they'll damage you normally, and you'll see a difference. Now, super armor. We've been talking about this the whole video. This means that incoming damage will be reduced, and the effects that immobilize you, like stun, knockdown, freeze, etc., will not happen for a duration of time. We don't know what this duration is, and Pearl Abyss will never tell us what that duration is, because you can just exploit it, figure out your opponent has super armor, clock them, then get in your immobilizations in, and guaranteed knocking them down. And that makes for bad game design. So, anyway, for super armor, the goal is to always have it on, and for the opponent is hitting them with as many immobilization skills as possible. So now that you know how this works, take a moment to look at this. The music is gonna change where we show you the gameplay video, where we show you what the Sage can do. So here we go. And welcome to the gameplay video. Before we get started, let us show you where we're at. We're over here in Balanos, and we are at Kron Castle entrance, and we're here because, well, their CP is this much, and our CP is a little bit higher. I think you'll be fine. So the way this works is we will use this auto path and have him fight for about 2, maybe 3 minutes, and then we'll go back to town, and at which time I'll do my outro and say thank you. So without further ado, I am pleased to present to you Sage. Here we go. Just about ready to head back to town. There we go. And while the loading screen is coming up, allow me to say thank you. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like my videos, please subscribe, like, let people know. I'm always making more videos, and there is a lot of videos left to do. So what we're gonna do now is move the camera around, put our Sage in a display area. That looks about right. That looks good. And we'll have him give a wave. And we'll just do a clap because he did a good job. Good job. Thank you once again, everyone. And you have yourself a great day. Take care. Bye now.